Today's lesson, it will be about Genesis and Apocalypse. Everything started when I saw a video about how to restore our vision naturally. Everyone says we can't look at the sun for too long because it blinds our eyes. The question is, why we cannot look at the sun and who is the sun? It all started at the beginning of creation, where everything that God made was good and perfect, including human beings. The Creator signed all His creation, and on us He has signed within a unique and revealing way. Our body is His painting, and our eyes are His signature. Shall we explore? So, our eyes have 6 socket muscles, which allow us to rotate our eyes. Which we can see, we have the moving up, the moving down out the movement, the move outside, the move inside, and the external upward movement. The ocular globe is made of the cornea, which is the first layer of our eyes, the iris, which is the color of our eyes, and the pupil that stays at the center of our eye. In the inner part, we have the lens, the biconvex eye lens, which just stay behind the iris. We also have the central part of the eyeball, composed of a liquid called humor vitreous. This is where light passes after passing through the lens. The cornea is the first layer of our eye, which projects the same amount of light to a specific point on the retina. The retina is responsible for processing the light and image we receive. Within the retina, we have 2 of many main agents for image and light processing. Those ones are cones and rods. The function of the crystalline lens is to focus light rays on the retina to create clear images that are far away. The crystalline is the perfect metaphor for Christ, the one who came to bring light to distant things and to focus us on the rays of light. And guess, the light stands for? The hollow part inside the eyeball is called vitreous humor, and it's composed of a liquid. This vitreous sends information through nerve impulses. As I mentioned before, the retina is the inner walls of our eyes. Within the retina, we will focus on the cones and rods receptors. Cones are responsible for detecting and identifying more than 7 million colors, focusing on the 3 main ones, which are the red, blue, and green. That together we can see magenta, cyan, and yellow. Rods are responsible for identifying black, white, and more than 500 shades of gray. There are more rods than cones. So, if the cones are responsible for detecting and identifying more than 7 million colors, we have a revelare. The cones are deltas, which are triangles, and the 7 is X. And so, the colors are the types of people. The perfect metaphor that reveals us that cones are responsible for discerning 7 types of people. Here we have also another revelare. As rods and cones are responsible for taking all the visible information to our brain, we also see that the colors they represent are made in an hexagram. We also see the 2 triangles, and we also have the revelare of the cube. But who evaluates what we see? As for the rods, we know that they can identify more than 500 shades of gray, black, and white. So their main function is to identify everything that's in the shadow. Their photoreceptors are so sensitive that they can even project an image when it's not there anymore. Can you believe that? Rods, when detecting an environment with low light, they can still identify the object and send the information to our neurons. A perfect example is when we turn off the light, for a few seconds we can still see the shape of the lamp. Try it. Revelare. Rods are responsible for discerning what's hidden, what has little, low, and even no light. Can you now guess what light stands for? Cones and rods are responsible for what I see and what do I do with what I see. So cones and rods are the perfect metaphor for grace and law, where with cones I identify what I see and with rods I discern what I see. Another amazing metaphor for our actions. Everything we see, process, and discern in grace and law, our ego just handed over to the central base, which is the final judgment. Who is understanding? At the end of the retina, there is a point that has neither cones nor rods, which we call blind spot. All the information we processed within the retina is delivered to the neural base through the blind spot. The blind spot is the only one devoid of light. This is an inert spot. The blind spot, located at the end of the retina, does nothing but letting the information received from the cones and rods pass to the cerebral cortex through the optic nerve. Revelare, just as we are a body whose bottom of matter is the ego, our eyes are the metaphysical body whose bottom is the blind spot, the inert point. Everything that enters to the pupil is processed in the rods and cones and delivered to the blind spot only to be transferred to the cerebral cortex. Our eyes are the living proof of the divine signature of our Supreme Master. We cannot hide anything because our eyes are the first who immediately denounce us to the cortex, to the main base, to the cloud. From today on, you will see your eyes with another perspective, with a new understanding and knowledge that everything we see, process, discern, and conclude, we will be judged at the end of our journey. I close this beautiful lesson by saying, if your eyes are good, everything around you will be good. But if your eyes are bad, everything else will be bad. My gratitude to all of you. Namaste.